Welcome back to 32 team franchise. We are done with week 4. We are a quarter of the way through the season. So we're going to do a league review and a score review of week 4. And then we're just going to take a look at around the league. So let's get into it. Week 4 football opened up with the Lions destroying Arizona. After that report about Matt Stafford might not return to Detroit, he has played lights out through 7 touchdowns. 5 of them were to Calvin Johnson. Matt dropped through 4. So both quarterbacks had a good game, but Matthew Stafford had a great game. Todd Best also got a touchdown. Megatron, 6 catches, 271 yards, 5 touchdowns. Felix Jones caught a touchdown. Andre Roberts, Brian Broles, Justin Hunter, Kellen Winslow. Justin Durant with 2 sacks. And Cassius Vaughn, Tim Jennings with the interceptions. 8 for 8 on extra points. The Chiefs beat the Chargers 33-23. Alex Smith throws 2 touchdowns and no turnovers. Wow, Philip Rivers throws 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Jamal Charles, 13 carries for 149 yards and a touchdown. Greg Jennings catches 2 touchdowns and 127 yards. Jonathan Stewart catches a touchdown. And Dwayne Bowe catches a touchdown with a -1 receiving yard. Justin Houston lead the game in sacks, and Derek Johnson and Justin Gilbert have interceptions. Both of these teams are now 3-1. Graham Gano missed 2 field goals, so that hurts, but wouldn't have really made a difference. Right, so I got missed a field goal. Both those teams are now 3-1. The Jets lose to the Panthers 24-16. Cam Newton, good game. Mark Sanchez did throw an interception. Cam Newton rushed for a touchdown. Marcus Lattimore rushed for a touchdown. Cordell Patterson, Dustin Keller both over 100 yards, while Paul Richardson and Anquan Bolden caught touchdowns. Quint Gobles, Muhammad Wilson both have 2 sacks. Luke Kuechly and Kiko Alonso both have interceptions. And Nick Folk missed a field goal. Miami is 0-4. They lose this one 17-7. And Ryan Tannehill got benched. So we don't know who's going to start week 5 for the Dolphins yet, whether it's John Skelton or Ryan Tannehill, but 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. He got benched at halftime. He threw 4 interceptions and a half. Went 10 for 25. Wasn't great. It was really bad. And John Skelton came in, went 3 for 5 and 340 yards. Lamar Miller, Jonas Gray combined for 50 yards. Maurice Jones-Drew has another good game. Tyler Eifert catches a touchdown. Daenerys Moore catches a touchdown. This was a boring game, but the Dolphins are now 0-4. Had a quarterback controversy with a first-year head coach not looking great. I mean, this team was 1 game out of the playoffs. I think the past 2 years fired Joe Philbin, or not the first year they were 1 game out of the playoffs. I think last year they went 6-10, and now they fired Joe Philbin, and this team's 0-4 and has a quarterback controversy on their hands. Atlanta beats Tampa Bay, who are also 0-4, 38-20. Matt Ryan 3 touchdowns and a pick. Chad Henne 2 touchdowns and a pick. When will we see Johnny Manziel? When he's ready. Jaquez Rogers 2 touchdowns. Julio 3 touchdowns. Vincent Jackson a touchdown. Mike Williams a touchdown. Great. A lot of guys with 1 sack, and Jonathan Cyprian and Arthur Brown interceptions. So, once again, Tampa Bay also 0-4. Tennessee beat Jacksonville 24-11. Another maybe a quarterback controversy as Colin Kaepernick got benched after throwing 50 yards, 1 touchdown, and going 2 for 13. Keith Winning came in the 7th round rookie, went 9 for 16, and 3 touchdowns, 133 yards. But Chip Kelly did say Colin Kaepernick is still their starter, but they need to do what was best for the team in that game to help them win. And Colin Kaepernick was playing bad, but Colin Kaepernick will start in Week 5. Chris Johnson has a touchdown. Cecil Shurts III had a touchdown. Touchdown and Jared Allen both had 1.5 sacks, and Markel Martin with an interception. So Kaepernick will start, so no controversy there. New England, Pittsburgh. New England wins this one against basically the Steelers B team. Jimmy Clausen's the starting quarterback. He throws 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Tom Brady 167 and a touchdown. Sean Green 57 yards and a touchdown. Stephen Ridley 7 for 27. Carlos Hyde 8 for 16 and 1. Heath Miller 4 for 66 and 1. Brandon Cook 4 for 40. This is not a Patriot Steelers game that usually happens. Usually it's a fun, good game. 2 exceptions for Dante Hightower. But with no Big Ben, no Antonio Brown, no Le'Veon Bell for the Steelers, it became just your average 1 p.m. game for the Patriots. Pittsburgh's 1-3. Washington gets back in the win column with a 2-point win over Dallas. Ryan Nassib played really well, throwing for 293 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Second-year, 4th-round pick. RG3 throws for 244 yards and 2 touchdowns. DeMarco Murray ran for 100, and RG3 ran for a touchdown. Kevin Smith ran for 2. Eddie Lacy ran for a touchdown as well. Des Bryant, Eric Decker, Brandon Bolden, Dwayne Harris all caught touchdowns. And Des Bryant was the leading receiver with 189 yards. Barry Cofield all had 3 sacks, and D'Angelo Hall had an interception. No missed kicks, but a close one. 34-32. Washington gets the much-needed win. Dallas falls to 1-3, which is sad because if they have Romo, probably win this one. Green Bay, Cincy. Cincy wins this one, 23-20. No touchdowns, no picks from Dalton. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks from Rodgers. Darren Sproles 10 for 120 and a touchdown. Devin White. Wait, where did? I don't. Did they really kick that many field goals? 15, 21. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, sorry, I was just doing some. I was confused there. Okay, 2 sacks from Geno Atkins, interception for Leon Hall and Reggie Nelson. So the Packers are no longer undefeated, and Mike Nugent goes 5 for 5. Tough loss for Green Bay. Denver beats Cleveland. This was a really close win for the Browns. They actually had the offensive player of the week in Brian Hoyer. But 38-36, Denver wins. 5 touchdowns and 351 yards for Brian Hoyer. No turnovers. Peyton Manning, 158.3 pass rating, 368 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Trent Richardson, 99 yards. Zach Stacy, 95 yards. Peyton Manning, a rushing touchdown. Terrence West had a rushing touchdown. 2 touchdowns for Marty B, 2 for Trent Richardson, 1 for Sammy Watkins, the rookie, 1 for Jacob Damby, 1 for Bruce Ellington, the rookie, and 1 for Wes Welker on 1 catch. Terrence Williams and Demar Stallworth both over 100 yards and a lot of fantasy points. 28.5 and 24. Only they had a touchdown. 2 sacks from Frosty Rucker, and no interceptions, and no missed kicks. Fun game. Excuse me. Fun game. Cleveland got really close, but um, left too much time for a Peyton Manning game-winning drive. Houston, Seattle. Geno Smith falls to the Russell Wilson-led Seahawks. Russ throws 3 touchdowns. Smith throws 2, both with an interception. Aaron Foster runs for 120 and a touchdown. Marshawn Lynch runs for 91 and a touchdown. Hakeem Nicks has 2 touchdowns and 198 yards. Andre Johnson has 2 touchdowns, and Doug Baldwin catches 1 pass for a touchdown. KJ Wright with 3 sacks. Daniel Manning and Richard Sherman with the interceptions. Blake Bortles gets the win over St. Louis in overtime. Sam Bradford, 2 touchdowns. Blake Bortles, a touchdown and a pick, 358 yards. Ben Tate, 102 yards. Adrian Peterson, 77, 2 touchdowns. Theo Riddick, 1 carry, 15 yards, and a touchdown. Tavon Austin, 8 catches, 160 yards, a touchdown. Jabbar Gaffney has a touchdown. And Matthew Wellington has a touchdown. Sack leader was Sean Williams and Michael Johnson. Norris Jenkins with an interception. And defensive touchdowns, Kevin Williams in overtime had a fumble recovery for the game-winning touchdown. Both kickers were perfect. So Blake Bortles looking to be maybe the best quarterback in the class. New York gets the best of Philly in overtime, 37-31. Mike Vick throws 3 touchdowns and a pick. Well, Mike throws 1 and a pick. Amon Brashaw, who led the league in rushing touchdowns last year, might lead it again with a 3-touchdown performance today. David Wilson, the former first-round pick, also had a touchdown. Shady McCoy, not a great game. Victor Cruz and Mario Manningham, both over Mario Manningham, the former Giant, now an Eagle, over 100 yards and a touchdown. Sean McCoy did do well through the air, having 93 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brian Roll, 2.5 sacks. Brian Birkin, interception. AJ Klein, interception. And there was a pick 6. Randy Bullock and Alex Henry both perfect on kicks, and the Giants get a much needed overtime win against the rivals. Monday night was 0-3 versus 0-3. Now we have 0-4 Chicago, 1-3 Baltimore. Baltimore needed this win. Each team needed this win. Joe Flacco, 390 yards and 3 touchdowns. Teddy Bridgewater, an amazing game, 260 yards and 4 touchdowns. LeGarrette Blount, 12 for 54. Matt Forte, 12 for 42. Expect a Matt Forte trade soon. He's not happy playing on the franchise tag. Chicago doesn't seem to want to extend him, and we'll see. I imagine he's going to get traded to a team that can compete for a championship. He has requested a trade, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. They're 0-4 as well. Torrey Smith, 237 yards, touchdown. Brandon Marshall, touchdown. Tandon Doss, touchdown. Earl Bennett, touchdown. And Zach Ertz, a touchdown. And Dennis Pitta and Cooper Helfet. Both these teams needed this win, but only one could walk away with it. That being the Ravens. It's a Harbaugh v. Harbaugh game. Probably why it's prime time. But yeah, both these teams needed it. Jim Harbaugh, Chicago isn't looking very good, and the Ravens aren't looking very good either with John. But they got a much-needed win. So that is Week 4. Week 5 schedule. Thursday night will be the Jags at Buffalo. 1 p.m. games. Commanders, Giants. 49ers, Colts. Browns, Steelers. Dolphins, Texans. Bucks, Cowboys. Panthers, Eagles. Broncos, Ravens. 4 p.m. games, Falcons, Saints, Chiefs, Raiders, Bears, Cardinals, Bengals, Vikings, primetime, Jets at Patriots, and Seahawks at Rams. So that is the Week 4 review. If we get into let's look at the league standings. So there are only 2 undefeated teams left. the Seahawks, who are 4-0, and the Saints, who are 3-0. They had their bye week. They play the Falcons next week, so we'll see if that can stay. There are a couple, five to be exact, winless teams: the Dolphins, the Bears, the Bucks, the Cardinals, and the Browns. I don't think this comes as any surprise to see the Cardinals, Browns, and Dolphins up here, but the Bears and Bucks kind of had high hopes. Were competitive last year, 7-9 and 8-8 respectively, but not this year. Doesn't look like it. So let's get into each division. So the AFC North right now is led by the Bengals. They have a two-game lead over the Ravens, who are 1-3. Since he's 3-1, they have been playing some really good football. They were the favorite to win this division, and they probably will. With Baltimore taking steps back every year, Pittsburgh having Ben Roethlisberger out, and Cleveland is just Cleveland. Um, so they will look to win this division um, and get back in the playoffs for the fourth straight year. Baltimore 1-3, just got their first win, which is huge, but they need to start picking things up. 0-3 teams rarely make the playoffs. It's tough because you have to play really good football down the stretch. But if they can get good play out of Joe Flacco and they can pick up this run game, I mean, maybe Matt Forte goes to Baltimore. They need a new running back. But LeGarrette Blunt, they do plan to roll with LeGarrette Blunt. Um, they just need to start winning. They just need some good play from Joe Flacco like they got on Monday night. If they continue to get that, Baltimore could be a sneaky wild card team. And when the playoffs come around, anything's possible. Pittsburgh is kind of screwed because they are without their best receiver and the quarterback for about another month. Jimmy Clausen's doing the best he can, but they've got a tough schedule. So Pittsburgh could quickly, their season could quickly be over. And Cleveland's 0-4 to no one's surprise. Brian Hoyer has taken a step back, even though he had a really good game against Denver. He has taken a step back from last year's form. Um, they probably will lose a lot of games. Mark Trestman's seat is getting hotter every day. While he did double their wins last year, he's holding on to that. They went 2-14 to 4-12. If he doesn't double them this year, well, I mean, they could slice them in half. This team probably will end up winning 1, 2, 3 games. This is not a very good football team at all. So we'll see what happens. AFC South, Tennessee is currently leading the AFC South at 2-2. This team had the number one pick last year. But Leslie Frazier and the Titans are quiet, and Carson Palmer, they pick up Carson Palmer while they are being outscored by 20 points. They're quietly 2-2 here, and will look to win the AFC South. The Texans are 2-2, or I guess the Colts lead the AFC South. Why is it ranked by that? Never mind. What the hell? So the Steelers are actually above the Ravens in standings. So, but still, I think the Ravens are a better threat. So, excuse me, the Colts are number one in the AFC South, to no one's surprise. They were in the Super Bowl last year. They won the Super Bowl as the defending champions. They only lost its week one against the Patriots. Had their bye last week. So, yeah, this team, the Colts are pretty good. They are without their best, offensive playmaker, Kobe Fleener, one of the best tight ends in football, but they have Dwayne Allen behind them and a lot other good pieces. Chris Thompson, Reggie Bush, T.Y. Hilton, Reggie Wayne. They got some good players on that team on that offense and a good defense as well. They've only allowed 59 points. Um, so, yeah, Indianapolis probably will win the division and are looking pretty good. Then, like I was saying, you had the Titans, number one overall pick last year, have 2 wins already. They were 2-2. They were playing some sound, just average football. I don't think they can do anything come, January, but maybe they can sneak in the playoffs. Like I just said, anything is possible, but never say never, but never with a team like the Titans, Carson Palmer, Chris Johnson. It's just there's not a lot to love there. They have a good future. I mean, they have Derek Carr, who has only seen the field in one game where we had an injury to Carson Palmer, but he was back the next week. So they have a bright future. They just had the number one pick, Jadeveon Clowney, who looks really, really good. Really, really good. Um, and Carson Palmer's playing some good football, but we know he's not the quarterback of the future, and it's a matter of time before we see Derek Carr, see what he's about. Houston is 2-2. Slow start, but they'll end up picking it up. I would like to think. This team's very good. Been in the playoffs past 2 years. Geno Smith not having a sophomore slump. Um, just 2-2. They'll get together. I mean, they're outscoring their opponents 164 compared to the Titans, who are 79-99. Sometimes, unlucky things happen. And Jacksonville's 1-3. Um, Not looking like a lot of improvement from Chip Kelly's Jags. If they do bad again, he could be out. Which, I mean, he was the hottest name in football 2 years ago. Everybody wanted him. Jacksonville was able to land him. But if he doesn't pick it up, eh, he could be out after 2 years, which would be, I mean, would add to the contra that college coaches can't succeed in the NFL. And then we have the AFC East, who the Patriots lead it. 3 wins, 1 loss. That loss being to the Saints. Yeah, they're 3-1. They're a good football team. The favorites to win the Super Bowl. Not much to say about Patriots. We are first round cook. Brandon Cooks is playing really damn good football. Yeah, it's just the Patriots. You got the Jets, who were 2-0. They've slipped 2 in a row, 2-2 now. Mark Sanchez playing average football. He just needs to cut down on the turnovers, and the Jets could be a team with that defense could sneak in the playoffs. But a really, really good defense. Rex Ryan, really damn good coach for what he has to work with. Buffalo 1-2. Had their bye week. Just got their first win in week 3. Chan Gailey's on the hot seat. He needs to start winning games. EJ Manuel isn't looking as good as his rookie season. But it's still early, so we don't know what's going to happen in Miami. Like we talked about earlier, 0-4. This is probably the second worst team in the league behind Cleveland in my eyes. Um, Quarterback controversy. Ryan Tannehill probably isn't the guy. You have a new coach and GM who didn't draft the guy, so that doesn't help. Um, so Miami's in a tough spot, and if they land that first overall pick, could Jameis Winston be staying in Florida? Could Marcus Mariota be coming to Florida? Don't know. AFC West, Kansas City, LA, or not LA, San Diego, although it still says LA, and Denver are all 3-1. All, I guess technically the Chiefs have the tiebreaker, but they all are 3-1 with 3 of the best offenses in the NFL, and 2 of the worst defenses in the NFL. All very good teams. These two, if I had to guess for the wild card teams, because someone like the Jets, there's only 2 teams can make it. I think all 3 of these teams will end up making the playoffs, and it won't be any other wild card teams. The Raiders are 2-2 under Lovey and Jay Cutler, their first year together. They're in Oakland, so not too shabby there. NFC. So Green Bay, Detroit, and Minnesota are all 3-1. I could see all these 3 teams making the playoffs as well. They're all really good. Minnesota turning some heads in Jim Caldwell's second year. They had really high hopes last year in Jim Caldwell's first season, but Christian Ponder took a step back. Adrian Peterson was hurt. Just didn't go well. They traded Percy Harvin halfway through the season, picked up a couple extra picks. That turned into Mike Evans. But here they are at 3-1 with Blake Bortles. Could they be back? Do they have the franchise quarterback? Detroit, I mean, we know what's going on in Green Bay. They're good. They're always going to be really, really damn good. They were the 1 seed last year. Detroit under Matt Patricia looking much, much better. Uh, you know, and Bob Quinn drafted Eric Ebron. He's been terrific so far. So Detroit looks to be treading up with Matt Patricia. Detroit 0-4, or not Detroit. Chicago under Harbaugh 0-4, and Teddy Bridgewater not looking great, but Teddy B might be the franchise quarterback. Harbaugh has at least another year after this, unless they go like 0-16, 1-15, 2-14. We'll see what happens. But um, yeah, maybe Harbaugh will be out of the list of coaches that can't succeed in the NFL from college football. Nobody seems to can. NFC South, New Orleans 3-0. The Falcons and Panthers are both 3-1, and Tampa's 0-4. So the NFC South, or the NFC is a lot more competitive. Once again, I can see all three of these teams making the playoffs. I really do think, um, Detroit, I think, has a real chance. Minnesota, I don't know if, come December, come November, can Blake Bortles really still play at a high level? We'll see, but like the Saints, Falcons, and Panthers, all these teams are really good. Both these teams were in the playoffs last year. The Panthers were 6-2 at one point, and then went on a 7-game losing streak. Um, so as long as that doesn't happen again, the Panthers could get in, and then Tampa 0-4. Chad Henne not looking good. Greg Shanna's job is getting hotter every single week. Eagles lead the NFC 3-1. The Giants and Commanders are 2-2, and the Cowboys are 1-3. It's sad for Dallas because if Tony Romo doesn't get hurt, they're probably up here 2-2 as well. Philly, obviously, one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. They're damn good. They've been in it the past 2 years. Giants are 2-2. They were the 2 seed last year. Washington looking to get in the playoffs or do something. Just show improvement. They just want to show improvement. This team Washington was under Dan Snyder was not great. One of the worst franchises in the league under Dan Snyder. And they have the new owner, new coaching staff, new regime. Mike Shanahan gone. Bruce Allen gone. Here comes Bill O'Brien and Louis Riddick, and Bill O'Brien is right now doing wonders with RG3, and so Washington, I think, will continue. They just need to get better, and I think they will just keep getting better. I don't think they make playoffs this year, but give them another year or two, and they could be a true contender. And Dallas, like I said, injury bug has hit them. DeMarco Murray missed the first 2 games, and then now Romo's out for the year. And now you have Ryan Nassib, fourth-round pick, never played. It's a mess in Dallas, but they might have a top pick. Maybe they move on. If they get a top pick, maybe Romo's done in Dallas. They're done with the injuries. He's aging. They just extended him, but he's gonna be out for a while. He had a bad injury, broke the leg. So we'll see what happens. And then the NFC West, Seattle 4-0, San Fran's 2-1. They had their bye. LA's 1-3, and Arizona is 0-4. Seattle is looking really damn good. They are a Super Bowl contender. Last year, a disappointing 7-8-1 season and a wild card loss after being in the NFC Championship game in 2012. But damn, this team's good. This team is really damn good and could be in the Super Bowl. San Fran 2-1 under Dirk Cutter and Josh Freeman. St. Louis 1-3, but all their games have been pretty close. And then Arizona 0-4. So that is each team's record. Take a look at I think I already showed this actually, but yeah. Jameis Winston, Mark Mariota, Dante Fowler, Amari Cooper. It's a good class. And we'll just check some stats real quick. So, the player of the week we didn't check. Calvin Johnson, Brian Hoyer, Luke Kuechly, and Dante Hightower. We'll just check. We won't check team stats. We'll just check player stats around the league. So, Matt Stafford leads the league in passing yards. Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, Mark Sanchez, Matt Ryan. The names you expect to see. You got RG3 there, which is nice to see. Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Andy Dalton, Teddy Bridgewater. The guys under 1,000. There's Manning, Hoyer, Vick, Newton, Henne, Bortles, Flacco, Kaepernick, Smith, Freeman, Breeze, Tannehill, Geno, EJ Manuel, Andrew Luck, Carson Palmer, Tony Romo, obviously, who's out for the year, Jimmy Clausen, Ryan Nassib, Tyrod Taylor, Big Ben, keep winning, Derek Carr, and John Skelton, and then Matt Hasselbeck got a pass in somewhere. Touchdown leader is Matt Stafford. Phillip Rivers and Aaron Rodgers both with 14. Russ and Bradford with 12. 12. Manning, Ryan, Dalton, Bridgewater, and Newton all with 10. And the interception leader is Teddy Bridgewater with 6. Wow, I did not know that, but a lot of guys with 5. Jimmy Clausen has 5. Mark Sanchez has 5. Matt Schaub has 5. Eli Manning has 5. Ryan Tannehill has 5. Blake Bortles has 5. A lot of guys with 4. Any quarterbacks with no interceptions? No, but EJ Manuel, Josh Freeman, Geno, Mike Vick, Drew Brees, Alex Smith, Andy Dalton, Sam Bradford, Russell Wilson all only have 1. Rushing, Jamal Charles right now is the rushing leader. With 594 yards, sorry. So he's on pace to have a monster season. Ahmad Bradshaw has the most carries. Most yards is Jamal Charles. Most touchdowns is Ahmad Bradshaw. RG3, 6 rushing touchdowns. So that's the thing. Bill O'Brien's using his legs. Fumble leader, no Sean Marino. Longest run, Jamal Charles at 92, and yards after contact, Marshawn Lynch, obviously. Adrian Peterson having a good year. You got guys like Maurice Jones-Drew, Giovanni Bernard, Darren Sproles. Reception leader, Greg Jennings for the Chargers. Yard leader, Calvin Megatron Johnson Jr. Touchdowns, Calvin Megatron Johnson Jr. Randall Cobb has 6, but he is hurt. I think he is out for a couple weeks. Shoulder tear out for 3 weeks. Run after catch, Calvin Johnson. Longest reception, Cecil Shorts III at 94. Odell having a nice rookie year. Dre Archer, 1 catch, 80 yards and a touchdown. That's pretty funny. Blocking, most sacks allowed goes to Thomas Welch and rookie Taylor Lewan. Manti Te'o leads the league in tackles. Ray Edwards, Jarvis Jenkins, and Kevin Pierre-Louis lead in tackle for loss. Alden Smith with 10.5 sacks leads the league. Von Miller with 9. KJ Wright, 8.5. You got some good names. Jadeveon Clowney, #1 overall pick with 6. Dante Hightower leads in interceptions. Deflections, Donald Butler. Catches allowed is glitched. Forced fumbles, 3 for Luke Kuechly. Fumble recoveries, 2. No safeties. Defensive touchdowns, 2 for Brandon Boykin. Best field goal percentage, Stephen Hauschka, because he's the only one that actually attempted more than 2 field goals. Longest field goal, Connor Barth. And Mason Crosby's missed 2 extra points. Who's the worst percentage? Josh Scobie, Brett Maher, Brandon McManus, Graham Gano, Dan Bailey, Justin Tucker. Punting, the Texans punt the most, the Patriots punt the least. No kick return, no punt return touchdown. So that is the stats there. Yeah, that is basically the quarter league report. We're 1/4 of the way to 2014 season. Drop some predictions. Who is your Super Bowl pick? Who will end up having the first overall pick? Will it be Miami, Chicago, Tampa, Arizona, or Cleveland? Drop your suggestions down below in the Discord or in the comment section. And yeah, that is the 1/4 league review. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye.